welcome back for one last time tonight, and if I'm honest, I think we should probably get into this as quickly as possible, because I feel like both these teams are pretty heated right now. We sit on 1-1 on a best-of-3 Consulate, Rogue versus Okami, who can find their way to the next round.
Oh, it's just up there, you know, what? I can't believe we've got this far.
In a weird way, for how they were playing the last map, I don't think Okami believe they've got this far either. They were randoming their match points.
I honestly think they're trolling. I really do. Thermite ban on Consulate, we've seen that before. Sometimes I've even seen double hard breach bans on Consulate simply to make the garage Fort Knox. Echo gone, Capital as well, so pretty standard. Nothing really off the beaten track, and I'm guessing Maestro would probably be the final one. No, Valkyrie. So Maestro and Mira available for Consulate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Garage should be Fort Knox now.
Yeah, I mean, Valkyrie's a fair ban. We already talked about this last time we were in Consulate, where it's just you kind of take care of that. Otherwise, you've got to bring an IQ every single time. And then otherwise, it's the balance of taking care of that kind of smoke push, taking care of the thermite jars to be able to get in cleanly. It's made Cafe a very hard point to take control of, and obviously Rogue have seen that, read that, and they're going to opt to swing there first. Cafe, as we're opening, yet again, Rogue starting on the defense. The statistics for the amount of attack rounds won between these two teams over the past two maps is ones where I think they would be called anomalies in the rest of the data that exists for Rainbow Six.
It's a big anomaly to anything of the sort. Rogue, once again, they're on their defense, and it really hasn't worked out. It really has not worked out for them at all. We've seen exactly the same from the past two, where they started in defense, and both those times it was a 4-2 split. That they had the 2, and Okami, they had the 4. Will the curse be lifted?
Well, I guess we're going to find out. Now, the thing about Okami, as I said, with the way they seem to be playing, and you may be like, what do you mean they were just trolling? What do you mean about that? Well, we got to kind of look at some of the facts. Obviously, they rushed for 4 of their attack rounds. 2 of them, they still brought Finker, but they didn't quite rush it. They just rushed one person in to get the plant down and then covered from there. But the bigger hints towards they're not probably taking this as seriously as some other teams are is they were randoming their bomb points in the final rounds when they were up rounds-wise. They were being pretty hilariously aggressive with some stuff. So I'm wondering what Okami we're going to see on this map. At the same time, Rogue, they just have these moments of brilliance, and then a round later get completely blindsided by whatever it is Okami's doing, and it's just such a weird trend and mix. Burning out the middle panel here and trying to make sure that they can get the top and the bottom to crack this open as a big entrance way, and obviously this is in lieu of the thermite. Allows the ability for the entire panel to drop out, and a talented Maverick can do it without suffering a huge amount of damage. At the meantime, Prompted is dangling upside down and trying to find a body in the meantime, but so far has just kind of put bullets towards Easily, who's tiptoeing around.
They're not bringing Habana, which is the more surprising option. They've solely went just for the Maverick. Hatch is not going to be opened by Okami. They don't have enough blowtorch fuel to get through that. You know, they've basically wasted all of it to open up one panel off the wall. Whereas if you did bring the Habana, you wouldn't have this issue. 2 players from Rogue lit up, Easily and Brian, but equally, so is Lyman. And Okami, they have a good bit of space between them. Lyman playing in towards the back kind of cuts off any rotations that defenders would want to go for, but he isn't very low HP, so he can't really take a gunfight. And Benji, he's in. He is now G36C, but as soon as he was in, he's right back out of there. He takes what he can and tries to hightail it.
Well, he took 2 lives, and that's a very impressive start, especially when you looked at, well, it's the Bandit who's trying the wall, and it's the Maestro who's a big bit of utility to take off the table. Eclipse and Vertical are trying to hold onto the service side and make sure they catch the man on the rotation down here, but Vertical is able to take care of Layman. Slash still has control of above and is able to keep it locked down, I say, as he suffers a huge amount of damage. Benji finds his third and Prompted tries to finish off the man that is downed inside, but the diffuser is well down, and Vertical cannot find either of the bodies and is suddenly in a 4 versus 1 post-plant scenario.
Vert, 1v3. Not even close. Okami. That's a round, and that's a solid one from them. A solid one from Benji, and if he's ready to go, and he's on fire, and he's on top of his game, oh boy. Rogue are in for it.
Well, that was a very, very good opening round there from Okami, and I think it's consistent with the attack compliments that we've paid them throughout the entire day. They know what they want to achieve, and they are so brazen in achieving it that it's just taking Rogue, who are kind of a slow setup team, it seems, by a bit of surprise. Console, we're going to rotate here now, and the fact that we said, at the beginning of this, we said, wow, that basement point, sure is going to be hard to get in there, and Okami just kind of went, watch me, and just completely took it with no panic.
Yeah, no panic at all. It was very swift. And decisive, more importantly. So, Okami, they will have another attack, this time towards the top floor, and nukes came out to play. I get why they would bring a nuke, because Maestro is available, and Maestro is typically an operator that is seen quite a bit by Rogue, especially on a map like Consulate, where he has a big say in kind of what goes, and the different Maestro cameras can be difficult for the attackers to deal with. Curious to see if it actually does follow through, because most of the Maestro cameras are placed on site, and typically Nuke's not going to be able to go around site as sneakily as you would expect. But still, we could see that try and make a surprise appearance, but I kind of doubt it. Nuke very underpowered currently. I would love to see her perhaps get a little bit of a loving buff. Would be nice to see.
Well, setting themselves up in the top of yellow stairs, this seems to be the go-to with a lot of NA teams. They kind of hold on to it and dig in. Brian is going to... Well, obviously, he's one of those players. I say he's going to hopefully do big things. He did big things in the previous map, but in the first map, he wasn't quite as, you know, ever prevalent as he was in the previous, and you kind of hope that he's a player that can consistently keep showing up, especially obviously when he's been brought in for today. He's often been a big impact player who at times has struggled to generally find himself in the permanent spot. Prompted swings in as Kilo joins them to take control of admin, and here comes the steady push across this side with the setup on the windows and the anchors of Benji on the far side. They're just trying to act as a hammer and anvil.
But Pulse, as a deadly operator to bring for, honestly, just Consulate Garage, the early information that you can gain, because the map is so small and it's all about the layers that it contains, Vertical can sit inside of the basement and towards server, and he can see everything that goes on towards admin. He can see how many people's repelling up east, he can see how many people is actually in admin. Of course, you can also rotate and use the C4 potential that you have easily. Going for a really long run out, but doesn't see anybody. But Kilo himself will entry on in, and he had a very poor showing in the first game, but second and third already, he's showing up second especially. He proved very big for Okami.
Yeah, the combination of Kilo and Prompted really just drove Okami to the front lines, and there it is. Kilo and Benji find one apiece, and
wow.
Castle, before he even begins to realize what's happened, gets dropped by Kilo, and now it's just Vertical with no health and not a lot else in his belt. He has to find a way in, at least puts bullets towards Prompted on the Decabi, but the call is coming in, drops Benji, and there's the pop background, and the 2-0 in the favor of Okami.
Straight away. No mucking about for Okami. They kind of want this. They have just unleashed the inner demon just possessed in all of them. And now we need to see Rogue try and find, you know, the magical device that will try and seal them away again for 10,000 years.
I mean, the 3 that currently have frags across the side of Okami have just been such a force, and Rogue hasn't been able to find a response for them. outside of the rounds where they've flawless, as soon as Benji, Prompted, or Kilo have been able to get feet inside the ground, it's just been magic.
And this is now different compared to all the other maps, is because on Clubhouse, Okami took the first attack, but we seen the response straight away from Rogue. On Border, Okami took the first attack, the response straight away from Rogue. This time, there was no response. That's a 2-0.
Yeah, it's not looking good, unfortunately, for Rogue, because these are pretty convincing losses. It's not like the other losses they suffered, where they would at least pull a fair few bodies back their way. They were often quite bitterly fought. They would set themselves up for trades and be able to find some death in and amongst it. But these past 2 rounds have kind of just seemed like they've been not really there. It's been quite lackluster, their response. They've drifted around and been able to find 1 or 2 frags, but you know, you have to have, again, the thing I've asked for a couple of times is that fire, and it seems in a way like they've almost given up on their defenses against Akami, and Akami's a team that's got more energized, more electric, and found themselves more into the game. And I know a while ago we said some teams are better on best of 3, and some teams are better on best of 1, and Rogue are a best of 3 team. Apparently Akami are a better best of 3 team.
They shouldn't be, because they are just the kind of pickup squad that played in, you know, the open qualifiers to get to this stage. You draw Rogue in a best of 3, you kind of think, oh boys, right, well, we're in for it now. Let's try our best. And their best has been, well, it's been damn good. It really has been.
Yeah, that's the thing, is when they're showing up, it just seems so well pieced together and put together, and you can tell that they've obviously at least worked on quite a few things. Now, picked up on the rotation as they swing round, Vertical finds Layman, and that is going to open it in their favor. But then it's the first time this game so far that the opening frag has gone towards Rogue, and they've had a history of being able to at least pull those rounds back in their direction. It seems like a slower weighted push here from Akami, but again, they've had a habit of, if they see and execute, they take it.
Yeah, they'll just walk in if they can. They've lost the buck though, so vertical control will be firmly in Rogue's control, and easily fires in through to Kilo, and looks to be Okami. They may have hit the first speed bump in this map. So, still 3 players alive, and Benji being one of those means anything could explode at any moment. Nade gets cooked for Dokkaebi, bounces off in towards pipes, but quick sidestep means that the defender does miss that. So I just think that Okami now, they've slowed down, they're not entirely sure what to do. Benji with G36C does land a headshot on the slash hog and still trying to push on in. They don't have the upstairs control, but neither does Rogue. Nobody's in a position to try and utilize the verticality that's still available. There goes the first Toxic Bay, but Benji still in the thick of it and quickly dances away and dodges those toxic fumes. And well, Okami, there's still potential here, but still I feel as if Rogue, they have all the control.
Gonna try and stick the diffuser. Theoretically, no. Brian just charges it instead of throwing a second smoke, but the bullets come over the shoulder. Post-plant situation. Vertical is down on pipes with Prompted and Flak both still alive. Almost finds the second. Looks like they're gonna try and get the revive, but it's a 2-2 situation. Oh. It's a 2-1 situation with one man still down on the floor. Rotates against where Dokkaebi is, who's actually pulled out of yellow, and now it's just a 1-1 unless they go for the revive. But it doesn't look like they're opting for it. No, they are. They're gonna get him up and utilize all this time, and it is precious, but there is still the chance of Dokkaebi getting 1 or 2. They're both pushing the same way. One is going to aggressively charge him, the other one is going to try and take the diffuser at this point. Looks up, but no, they are down. Can they get back in time to get the disable, though? I think they're too late.
Yeah. No way Okami have pulled off a 5 versus 3 post-plant retake from Rogue. Yes, you got the kill, but why did both of them run out? Why didn't Pulse go and stick to the fuse while Jaeger goes away? That would have been their only out. Because both of them pushing, as we clearly seen, wasn't the play.
It's hard to kind of break that stuff down because they're just rookie mistakes in a way that you shouldn't really be making those. And whether it's the frustration of the position they're in, whether it's just been a long day, and however it's breaking down on that round or this map, it's not the Rogue that we're used to seeing, and that was just a complete misplay.
I hate to say it, but I remember whenever we were doing the Adventure Force against Akatsuki, and Easily came in and he asked who's getting smoked and who's who's getting the smoke and who's smoking. How the tables have turned against them.
I mean, it's the thing. The thing is, when we swap to the attacks, I'm assuming with the way the pace of the evening has gone, Rogue are going to be back into the swing of it. They're going to be able to start finding the rounds, and again, even though it's a 3-0, I just have this feeling that the game is going to swing itself back into a bit of a battle because they are capable of doing it, and they've proven it a couple of times. But these defensive rounds just... they leave you with these little mistakes that are adding up, and they're building and they're building, and they're leading to results like this. Whereas the team that still seems to be attacking it with tenacity and energy is really just kind of pulling away with it at this point. One of the things I'm a bit curious about in the previous round was how many smokes Brian had. Because we saw him use one. I only saw one go off, or heard one go off the entire round, and yet he decided to push with guns when they were going for the plant, and I'm just wondering if he had anything left in the tank or where the others might have got to, because, you know, again, that was a moment for me where I was kind of thinking, well, you know, why is he aggressively pushing this? Does he still have utility? But I guess that's one of the things that we might not be sure about pushing against Cafe one more time, and now Akami there. For me, doing everything really well and really right now.
So once again, with this Maverick, the upside down repel from Prompted. Hasn't got any kills from it though, but still an early thing that they try and implement. Once again, another garage for Rogue. Previous two hasn't worked for them. They haven't went to the lobby yet, so they haven't attempted that. And Kilo is just able to freely push in and take care of anything with no real lashback from Rogue, which I'm surprised why nobody was kind of stopping him from doing so, but perhaps they were scared of getting Maverick out and, you know, kind of things in between. So once again, the wall is semi being opened up. He just missed a little bit. He's just wondering, where have I went wrong? That Maestro should start zapping him. I don't get why it isn't. That's the whole point of putting those strong Maestro cameras, is that you can basically kill the attackers from outside of the breach.
Well, Vertical is finding his way back towards the point and back towards yellow stairs as he looks for any kind of damage he can start to feed back. There is a bit of cover coming, and the calls go across, and there is Vertical and Easily both finding one apiece. Great reaction there from Vertical, and Easily finds a second onto Kilo. And that puts them into a good situation, but DKB is there to bring it back a little bit into their favor. 2-3 with a minute on the clock. There's still a fair bit left to do. This is still a whole wall to get open and still a way to double down back round. Looking for the long angle at this point. Flack is trying to find something with Prompted above, but with 40 seconds and a bit of a... yeah, not a good one to see. This is down to Flack to try and pull out something magical. They're swinging a bit closer, but you can hear the Maestro zaps coming off, so you assume there's some information covering it, as Maestro's in a bit of a safe spot there. Popping and pre-firing, but Rogue take their first round and bring it to 3-1.
About time. So that has been their garage now locked in, and well, they just kind of took the picks, and again, Okami, I feel as if they were too predictable that time around. Still, honestly, they pulled it back into a winnable position for them, but that unfortunate grenade kind of put them in the ringer. So now for Rogue, they move into a lobby, so not even attempting the top floor. They just feel as if they got ran over on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really swinging their way, so they're going to opt for something, I guess, where they can have a little bit more of a cover. And that's the thing that has kind of been always a good part of Rogue this evening, is when they're in a position to find the firefights from range, and when it is Akami falling against them and they've got their angles, they're very good at capitalizing upon that. They have a lot of good gunners on their team, and when they can get them working, it's effective. And I guess Lobby kind of offers that as more of a play space than what they found on the top floor. at the same time, Akami have been, for lack of a better word, pretty electric throughout all of their attacks. They've been so quick in how they want to try and get somewhere, as we said many, many times. And the way that they're kind of hitting these points quite effervescently makes me feel like a lobby point, they might be pretty solid at just finding their way in and getting a diffuser down.
Yeah, I feel as if they could simply rush Visa, knowing these guys and the kind of playstyle they have, which is just go with what happens, just go with it. And that is kind of through Rogue, because Rogue probably aren't used to that strategy that is the very unique Okami style. So now for Rogue, they take up the mid floor, and they will extend in towards that top area, in towards the meeting room, which is pretty standard. You need to try and have a firm lock, because if you do have that vertical control as defenders, then it kind of forces the attack into actually taking above, because you just simply can't walk into circle desk while a hatch and different vertical holes is open. Prompted on the Dokkaebi once again, which he has the nades, I think, is kind of the reason why they're bringing that specific operator, not so much for the Dokkaebi calls, because Mute has been ran by Brian, so if you didn't know, Dokkaebi calls, if you start getting rang by one, you can simply walk into the radius of Mute Jammer, and they will automatically be turned off. Speaking of Brian, he's up in meeting.
I've been meeting and waiting for some of the pressure to come from. Obviously, can we be well aware that they probably need to get control of the top floor. They won't be able to sneak the plant as long as there's still a body up there. Vertical is also playing underneath. They've gone for a 3-tiered hold here to make sure they can have as much viability in holding off the multifaceted push that's coming from Okami pretty consistently. In the meantime, Slash has suffered half health, and Brian is free to rotate towards the CEO side and see if they can pick up the body over there. But otherwise, it is yet again, there is a man inside the bathroom.
How are they in?
Has crept his way through the front door and has just charged in, prompted. Finds Brian. In the meantime, Kilo is trying to take control of Piano as someone comes up from yellow with Pulse still underneath. That's a C4, but Benji finds easily, and that is just becoming more and more of a sway in their favor. Benji with the double kill. Vertical has no nitro cell and all 5 Okami players to kill in a post-plant situation. How do they just walk into point like that?
I was about to ask you that same question. I have no idea how they pull that off. Vert, you get 2 kills, but that means diddly squat. You've lost the round. Okami have everything on lock, and the diffuser in the corner, as solid as it is. He's going to try and stick to defuse, but should be easily fragged, and there you go. I just don't get it anymore. I really don't.
How does
I can't.
Okami have such a skill at seeing.
They're ninjas.
They just appear in the point, and they're doing it so consistently.
It's like every single one of them has Caviar a silent step, but permanently.
Split point we go to now. Split point, we haven't seen that at all throughout the series. Granted, we've only seen Consulate once, and it was earlier today, but it's a rarer one to see. And I guess when you're Rogue and you're looking at the situation where you're in the 4-1 and you're on the turn of the split, you kind of want to try some fresh things. And to be fair, the last time they tried a fresh thing, it actually worked in their favor back on border. So I think it's a right move to make. Okami bringing the Lion and bringing the KB to kind of, I guess, lock down this final round the same way that Rogue pretty consistently did before, but I feel like they're also probably expecting to face it every single round there on their defense.
So we go to a very off-site position. They have no intention of going back upstairs. Instead, rather than going for that bomb site, they go for the split. So Split Bomb Site was the most recent update to Consulate that they kind of added in not too long ago, around about 9, even like a year ago, something like that was about Flick, I think. It was quite a while ago.
Yeah, it was
something like that.
Roughly around that.
But basically, this bomb site kind of plays in either 2 ways. You either hold the top floor, and that's having a very stiff meeting, and you can even extend in towards some other areas of top floor, or you try and C4 anybody who wants to try and plant inside of tellers, and that's where you have a lot of C4s, and Pulse is a very strong operator, and they're just in. They're rushing, Again and again and again, they are holding nothing back, but all of a sudden, Rogue, they've pulled kills out of nowhere, but it's still a 2v2 and they're in the bomb site. But like we talked about, Tellers is where they're going to try and C4 from. That's why Eclipse is down there with the pulse scanner being able to feed information to Vert. As Kilo, I think he's trying to bait for the defuse potentially, but no, Flaky does stick it. Now it will be a post plant. That's a C4 being wasted now by Rogue. Eclipse up in towards Spiral, finds the information, should be an easy pre-fire for him, and yes it will be. Flak has it all to do, oh, but Vertical's there, and Rogue, they do stop Okami, but once more, they're just, I don't know. They're a new breed.
Bomb diffuser disabled by defenders. Bomb diffusing attempt failed. Defenders win.
Well, we swap over now. 4-2. For the third time in a row, we're on a 4-2 at the turn of the split. Last time, or the first time, it ended up on 7-4. The next time, it ended up on 8-7. Who knows how this one is going to end up. I guess we'll see how they decide to play through on this at this point. Rogue have a bit of work to do. I mean, they're probably going to be a bit more successful in their attacks based statistically on how this entire night has decided to go so far, but, you know, at the same time, it's just becoming harder and harder to really work out what is going to happen next in this game, especially when Okami is playing, I think is a fair thing to say.
It's another 4-2 split for Rogue. This is now the third time we're going into the next half. It has been 4-2.
Yeah.
Rogue have looked dominant in their attacks. Attack has been all the praise so far in this series. Now it's a matter of fact is, can they hold their nerve on a map like Consulate?
Setting themselves up to hold down the console point first. They're going to be, I'm curious to see actually how Okami are going to be holding this. They've been, I think, mixed on their defenses. The times when they've got their aggression and swung in has worked, but it's rarer and far and few between. As we've said, the stats on this matchup between these two teams has been so skewed towards how...
What is he bringing out? What in...
The Doc shotgun.
In the American style, what in tarnation?
The Doc shotgun.
Why is... I'm done. I can't do this anymore. This is... They're trolling. They have to be trolling. I don't believe that they are not. They... I'm about to go crazy. I am headed straight for the Asylum Ward after this game.
When we see the Doc shotgun triple kill run out,
this is too much.
So, in the meantime, you look at what Rogue's bringing. It obviously has the Nomad to control those staircases. As we said, they've been very, very good at locking off angles and even better at being able to exploit them once they've got the control of the map. Their attacks consistently have been on point. They've been pressured and clinical. But obviously, it's been a very long night, and they're on, you know, they've got to pull this map out of the bag, and they're on a bit of a back foot. So let's see if they can at least find a way back into this game. Every time I see it, it confuses me more. The French shotgun.
It's so unusual, isn't it?
It's so rare to see. It's so rare to see. But Benji, my God, man, a day you've had with the Okami boys. I'm assuming he's the IGL for the team. But who knows what system they have in place.
It really doesn't seem as if they have one.
Either way, it's working. Maybe they just, like, throw loads of dice and then go, right, well, the dice have decided this is what we're going to do. And it works, and the system is just perfect. Benji's suffering pressure from the top of yellow, going to struggle to find the firefight with the French shotgun at that range, but is opting to just heal themselves up as the grenades and the close down comes. Slash finds the double. Benji and Kilo get taken, but Layman is trying to rotate around the back. However, will meet some tracks very quickly. Wants to push past them and suffer the shell of damage that might take it, but is actually going to try and be sneaky about it. The pre-fires come against Slash, who goes down to a fraction of health, but has tipped the spear pretty well, and Vertical is there to pick off Layman on the backside as well. 4-2 prompted finds a bit of a chaos back the other way, and Flak with a shotgun, which is a more traditional one, drops Brian, brings it back to a 3-2.
Toxic Bay being tossed in towards yellow. No diffuser being planted yet, and honestly, there's not really a position for Rogue. As I say that, that's opened things up. The smoke grenades come in, but there's prompted straight in towards the B, but Gridlock never swung in. Oh, now she does, and that's gave herself away. And more importantly, the diffuser, they have to push for the kill. They have to kill prompted. There's no way out. He could honestly just jump out if he wants to. He's going to try and fight them. The air jab's there, but there's the kill. Yes, it will happen, Rogue. Somehow they pull it off. Honestly, Jaeger could have just jumped out the window. He could have been gone.
Imagine if he just ran. Like, he just took off and ran. Unfortunately, we don't get to see that. We see a 4-3. Instead, the Nomad jab being the decider.
Oh
there.
no, Brian. Oh no, Big Bri.
Brian, unfortunately.
Big Vertical of 14-4.
Vertical
Holy moly.
doesn't want this to fall apart. In the middle game, in the second map, we saw Brian have a really, really good map, and unfortunately, he hasn't been able to find the board here. Benji has been great all night. Prompted and Kilo had unbelievable map in border, and, you know, we're going to head to Cafe and Garage.
So, Rogue, they continue on with their attacking win straight off the rip, and are we going to see another comeback from Rogue on the attacks? Because now that's the big question. Does the kind of synergy of every single map favoring the attackers all of a sudden? Is that going to continue?
It's so hard to call at this point. Like, it's the thing about it is, okay, I know people can say, you know, they might be trying to just, they're tired from prep for their relegation games, which obviously mean a lot to them, which are coming up. They might be trying to not really push themselves too much in the build-up to relegation. Fine, you can say that. But at the same time, you still expect a team of their caliber in Pro League to be able to pull more out of this and not keep, I'm going to say falling for, suffering things like this. Benji, with the spawn peak, found a different gun on the French operator and has decided that it's actually quite a good one as he takes care of Slash before he can even begin to make his way towards the building. And now that's the SAPPHIRE out of their wheelhouse. Layman with the Pulse, which is an exceptionally good operator on this map, able to feed all of that information from that wall back to the team. And, well, Rogue, you're a man down. Can you make something of it?
So Rogue, they've lost Sophia. But Vertical's still alive, though, so they always have hope whenever he's ready to gun them, of course. And, oh boy, he's going for a speed run. He's straight in towards the top floor. Takes out the default cameras and will move his way in towards Spiral. Okami, though, they don't really have that much aggressive roamers that really, I think, Vert would excel in hunting. Just the one guy towards the piano side, looking to creep in, and still a hefty amount of players in the bomb site, ready to, of course, meet Rogue. So bathroom pretty common for a lot of defenders to set in towards. It wastes time from Rogue, and it also takes utility, and they know that they have to take the guy out of bathroom, because if they just try and push in towards the bomb site, that guy could just simply go and open up holes above your standard plant beside White Van. So the whole thing about holding the mid-floor is it forces the attack to push you in, and there you go. Look, there's utility being wasted, and it's just a matter of fact of how long can really prolong everything that Rogue is trying to accomplish?
Well, Vertical's still trying to find some pressure and pace here, and they've managed to push everyone down to the ground floor, and a minute 10 on the board means they've got to start making something of it. Vertical, who've already said has been a very big part of this, is looking for his opening frag and is only inches away from at least two of the operators, but can't quite find them in the holes that he's made. Good pings and good control come out and puts bullets towards the feet of someone, but it doesn't quite land. Brian rotating towards the yellow side, and they're trying to open up the site and be able to get into the garage wall, but at this point, with the timer ticking, it seems like Rogue need to set themselves up for this attack.
They've opened up the breach, and Benji, tucked away in the garage corner, will swing on in. Eliminates Brian, but he still did get the frag on to Kilo. But as long as, of course, the man advantage is in their court, they don't really care. Vertical, however, swings back into an even side and even gives them the lead. Vertical is untouchable this game. He is the man for Rogue, and can he keep it going and try and single-handedly win at this? But looks to be that someone else is going to jump onto it. Easily there, and now Layman All to do a 1 versus 3. The Fuser has to get planted. Still has the C4. 2 stacking up in towards yellow, but Vert, he's just coming for him. He wants his soul.
Tried to go deep with the C4 at the end there and pull off a kind of buzzer beater Kobe, but unfortunately it doesn't. It's harder to do when you're being shot, I think. 4-4. Everything is back to level pegging. Vertical 16-4 at this moment in time.
Oh my, he's gonna drop 20 something. He has to. He is going to drop 20 plus kills. Because more than likely we're gonna see overtime.
I mean,
what's the kill record these days?
I don't know what the kill record is for OGA at least, but I think, is it still
23?
Yeah, I think
by Bangu in finals back in...
Maybe.
What finals was it? Was, you know, year 2 time. I think that would have been it.
If I'm honest, I think we've been casting for 8 hours now. I don't know what the uptime of the stream is.
Oh, it's like 7.5 hours. We're getting there.
We've been casting a while. What time is it?
I'm as hyper as ever.
No, this is like... We've been... I've just had it down my headset. 8 hours, 30 minutes. It's 5:30 in the morning in the studio.
I'm good. I'm feeling fresh. I'm fine. I'm ready to go.
You're not doing EU tomorrow. I am, alongside great old Sternab, who's going to be well refreshed. If anyone's watching EU, you get to watch me, I guess, try and have a semblance of a voice back after the screaming day that this has been. NA, I love you. This is insane. Setting themselves up for another hold here. Okami, they fall themselves back on to, unfortunately, level pegging, so I guess we'll see how this starts to translate. Kilo is bringing the big guns of Maestro. Benji is on a French operator. Who knows what gun Benji has brought this time?
He's just here for the ride, man. He's got the MP5, not the Doc Shoddy. I'm a little bit disappointed that he's actually not bringing it, because he never really got a chance to use it. Even though I was, like, you know, freaking out of the prospect. Now that I've kind of sat on it, I think, yeah, it would have been pretty cool to see a kill or two. Okay. Let's look at how Rogue can keep themselves moving and try and pull themselves out of this hole. Looking at their lineup, aggressive, you know, vertical on the Ash. You already know that screams terror for Okami. They have the jump out, coverage from easily, but really Nomad hasn't been the big bane of existence for Okami. Well, sure, there was that one time in that consulate kind of defense where an air jab literally won Rogue the round single-handedly. So I'm guessing that's probably why they're still bringing it again. But over that, it hasn't really, like, kind of stopped the jump outs that has happened.
No, and that's the thing. And to be fair, we haven't seen a huge amount of insane jump outs in terms of the building itself, especially compared to what we saw Kilo pulling shenanigans-wise in the middle map. But he seems to be more... Well, he's not on Jaeger, I think is the general difference here. His Jaeger game was off the wall previously. Prompted has actually said, well, I want to play Jaeger. It's my turn to be on the Jaeger. And so far, again, is trying to fill that hole that was otherwise very effective for them previously. But with a minute 20 on, yet again, Rogue is setting themselves up for a pretty consistent and put-together push. Vertical is, again, refusing to let this game fall through Rogue's fingers, ready for any swing round, and the movement and everything about him is being so precise right now. Concerned about someone looping down from underneath, but Brian opens up the frags and takes care of Flak. That is the smoke off the table. Big operator to stop any kind of push against any of the swinging windows, and it's just a matter of finding the timing and finding the pressure and the positioning.
So look at the pressure in towards A bomb site specifically. That's why we have the one attacker located on the balcony. Everybody in towards the admin, and even Eclipse is going to come and join the man on the balcony. So they look as if they're going to try and jump in and plant from that position. So that does make a lot of sense.
Well, someone screamed in the distance of Consulate now, but Brian is trying to hold over long desk as Eclipse is actually getting the diffuser down inside point. The bullets come across and we hear damage going across, and there is the big trade all the way across with Brian leading out at the end of that. Rogue have 3 bodies left standing with Kilo the only one. Yet again, we're finding ourselves in the dying 15 seconds. Kilo holding a very big and very deep angle, and his position is revealed at the top of yellow. At this point, it's just a matter of having the crossfire cover. Sees the man on top of the stairs and gets them. Brilliant swing and brilliant counter. If they can find the diffuser planter, they fire, but no luck as Rogue managed to once again pull themselves ahead.
Attack is just everything for Rogue. Why is that? We see teams struggle with attacks, and the defense have always had the big say. But today, the attacks have been solid, so solid from Rogue. They really have been. It's bonkers. It really is. And now Rogue, they are leading for the first time, which isn't a custom. Okami struggling with their defense. Is it a matter of fact of, is it the defense from Okami being really weak, or is it, you know, just attacks from Rogue are really strong?
I mean, it's so hard to pinpoint, because the thing about it is, it's the defenses for across the board haven't been fantastic, and I want to see like these teams against a team that have been statistically good on defense, a team that has kind of been setting themselves up in a better position to deal with this kind of stuff, and a team that has just been, I guess, more solid in terms of their defenses, because it's just such an amount of body that has fallen to the attacker, and you've got to start questioning where the fault is. And for me, I think that answer will only really come when it gets tested against a team that is at least putting big numbers on the defensive side. Because yeah, some teams can have preferences to attack and defensive. Some teams can have preferences on the map where they like to attack and defend. But to have the statistics this skewed for both teams over 3 maps is rare to see from the statistics side.
It is. It's a weird anomaly that we're not used to, but it is a kind of breath of fresh air where the attacks do come on top and we kind of look down upon the defense and wonder what went wrong. So Rogue, they will try and look for their admin take once more. And, well, they got in there pretty swiftly the last time for the top floor, but this, of course, is going to be the garage now that they have to go and attack. Brian, the single man outside of triple wall, they're not bringing the Maverick. Unlike where Okami, they brought that specific operator and they sacked off the Habana, but Rogue doing things a little bit differently. Pre-play C4 and accompanied with the Pulse means that as soon as someone walks over towards that kind of little desk area before you enter towards the server stairs, an easy blast, and that's a free kill. Wonder if that's going to work for them. They know that Rogue are pushing in due to the early information being gathered by the Pulse, and that's why I think the Pulse is a great operator specifically for console, because it's so small. You can see everything that kind of comes into coordination with each other. I'm not sure if Eclipse kind of caught the scent of a Pulse who may be lurking below. Easily comes over and will Nomad off the flank. Make sure nobody tries to rotate up later on and cause some issues for them. So Rogue taking their time, again, pretty patient, not the speed run that we have seen before from players, of course, like Vertical, who is still looking to put his mark on this game.
I was going to say, mainly it's just Vertical, who has been throwing themselves into the map as quickly as physically possible, going for the clean clear across this middle floor and trying to lock down the man that is currently playing towards the bathroom side. Might have the option to rotate out of there, but here's the utility coming to try and crack them out. The backside is broken open by Vertical as well. They're holding it tight with the shotgun. It might be reinforced in the drop down, but with the side open behind him, the door in front of him, and someone on the shoulder of him, it's really only a matter of time. Layman finds one in the meantime, takes care of Vertical, and Kilo finds Slashhog in the other, and Kilo finds another one.
What? That was a hip fire as well from Kilo, and Brian, he takes a snooze. 5v2. Rogue look as if they're gonna try and do something, anything they can. They've lost Vertical, who we know can push in, but equally Eclipse. He's a monster in his own right in his day. Let's see if he can try and rekindle that spark. Don't think it's going to work well for them, no. Not enough time, and still a bunch of utility for Okami. They're scattered around, dotted around the bomb site. There's a ping, though, onto the Manu walls beside the bins. Hatch still open, but Rogue look as if they're going to give up yet again another round, and this will swing back for Okami. And they square it up, 5 rounds apiece.
Flawlessly, might I add. 5-5. If this goes to best of 3, double OT, imagine if we were playing unlimited OT. I don't think we would leave. I think this game would perpetually
Oh my god, could you imagine infinite overtime for this game?
I don't think it would end. I think so. The record, by the way, sorry, the record was 25 kills apparently from Shaiko during DreamHack.
That was Montreal? Yeah.
Yes. I don't know what the record is for rounds in terms of unlimited OT with Siege.
I know that Rampy had like that really one good time. Was it like 22?
22.
Okay.
In terms of unlimited OT, I believe.
Well, unlimited OT is in its like own kind of thing. We can't really count that as regular.
No. Yeah, I'm doing that as a side thing.
Yeah. Just because unlimited overtime, it's only available for grand finals of the invite or the major.
But in other instances it happened. I think it was a CCS game cast by Flynn and Stokes.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and that was the long haul.
Yeah, and we don't really see any more infinite overtimes because of that reason.
Did it get into the 30s?
Yeah, it went like 16, 17 up there, right up there.
Oh my
so
God.
It was wild.
Oof. All right, well, 5-5. It's all level pegging, and we edge closer and closer to finding out who gets to progress in the bracket and who is unfortunately not going to find their way closer to a step at the OGA Croatia Pit Minor. Akami have been able to pull one back and stem the bleeding from 4 straight rounds in a row from the side of Rogue, but it was from a quick early pick and then capitalizing well upon that with some pretty coordinated aggression. However, they cannot opt to go back to Cafe, so they have to go to Console, which they've lost twice.
Yeah, top floor has been a pesky one for Okami. Rogue seem to have some really solid attacks. You know, we've seen, of course, Benji having the dock the first round, and then they went for the B push. So Rogue, both times in their attacks, first time they went for the B, second time they went for the A. I honestly think A went a lot more smoother than what the B did, and I do expect them to try and carry that out once more, but they could always... Oh no! This is a disaster for Okami. Benji went to flick on the Slash, but he accidentally TK'd Flak. And well, even Slashy just picked off Doc anyway. Oh no!
I'm still going to put that on my opening frag. That Benji got one. That is a big, big loss, obviously, to lose the big French ACOG, and then Layman drops as well. It is now down to the pairing of Prompted and Kilo, who've otherwise been pretty solid as a pairing so far. The C4 doesn't catch anyone, but the Flash does catch the Mozzie, who's going to suffer more and more kind of pressure on this yellow side. And you can see that he kind of wants to get out of there, but knows that he's in a very dangerous position and can't really throw his life away. So it's just a matter of digging in and hoping they can find the one frag to allow themselves a little bit more space. Prompted in the meantime is going to try and keep control of, well, the rest of the floor as the close down starts to come. Prompted finds one, Vertical finds Kilo in the meantime, and it is now a clutch ace situation.
Gets another one on the Slash, but 3 more to go along with Diffuser being planted. Crossfires established for Rogue, and as soon as Prompted even gets one, there should be the quick refrag. They know where he is. Shots rattle on through the soft walls, and Prompted, he has no idea Eclipse is right beside him, but Eclipse, he knows best, and, well, Rogue, map point, series point, they take it. Their attacks only drop in the 1, but still not over yet for Okami.
Why did he have an ADS in pocket at the end there?
Classic NA Jaeger move.
Keep it. Keep it, play it later. Since the last time we actually highlighted the amount of kills Vertical was getting, he's only got 1 more. So he's kind of dropped off a little bit, but I think the fact that Rogue has been
Everybody else has woken up.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing. That's what I was going to kind of lead in. And it's good to see Rogue doing it. They've put themselves on match point. It's not over yet. We're heading to lobby. We haven't seen this point yet, and sometimes these surprises have worked very well for Okami.
Lobby, this is where we go. The final stand for Okami, and they need to make it count, because if Rogue take this one, then they take the series. Line up, a lot of ACOGs, Benji on the dock, Kilo on the Maestro. So nothing's really changed too much for the operators of Okami. You know, very standard stuff, perhaps lacking, you know, a smoke or some kind of denial. Rogue, on the other hand, they've kind of sacked off the gridlock since their very early stages of their attacks. They haven't had any interest in taking them so far. Frag Heavy Ops has kind of been their game plan, bringing Hibana in, who, yes, is known as kind of support, don't die first operator, because the gadget is so useful, but the gun and the free speed attached to it, it's great for fragging potential as well. So Rogue, how are they going to take control of this lobby? Because this is going to be the first time that we see Okami defend it. They do bring the Pulse, which is there for early information, and also C4s if you can try and nail some anywhere you can. And that early information will prove to help the defense a lot. People don't realize how useful Pulse is, especially in a map like Consulate, where you can literally pick them up right as they come and spawn, and because it is a massive rectangle, it's just a simple west, north, east, or south take. There's no really in between. It's very simple to find out exactly where teams are coming from.
Well, 227 on the board. Rogue setting themselves up for a bit of a concerned effort. Benji trying to find a body before they can get themselves into the building. And there is Layman opening it up and taking care of Vertical, really swinging a bit of momentum to their favor. Last time he got the opening frag, they took the round 2 rounds ago, so it's a good sign for them. It was the same person who was dropped first. However, Lobby is a very different point to hold, trying to find a little bit more semblance of control inside, as Flak is going to bury down the top floor behind the meeting room table, and Rogue have to start setting their sights on dropping some bodies, because if they don't make moves and find themselves in the dying throes, well, Okami have a pretty consistent habit of being able to make the most of those final 15 seconds.
Rogue losing Vertical as well, and whenever we've seen them lose Vertical on Border, the attacks look very lackluster. Nobody from Rogue wanted to kind of walk into the Okami defense, and well, Kilo just barely misses out on that kill. Takes a bit of damage, but that's really it. So now Rogue look as if they want to pressure towards that top floor as repels come in, but quickly have been sent back down. Don't tell me they're going to try and force their way into bomb site, because whenever they try that, it never works.
Well, Flak is still free to move around now underneath after escaping the very top floor, but that is Rogue's to play with. Kilo suffered a shoulder of damage, but is otherwise pretty healthy with the big gun to cover anyone that pushes straight in easily. Finally gets revenge against Layman for the opening frag and tries to clear across with the Nomad. Still has air jabs in pocket, otherwise a lot of Zafia's utility has already been expended on this front door, potentially to clear barbed wire. Easily gets the double, refusing to let this game end as he pops the Nomad charge, but the Mozzie rotates from underneath, finds the body, rotates back down, concerned about the cover, but with 30 seconds left, Rogue have to start thinking about getting this diffuser in point as the pings come out. Eclipse knocking on the door with Slash there to double up, and Brian is trying to pincer from the back, but Prompt is still above and able to start dropping bodies. Kilo suffers in the meantime, hits the hatch and almost trips them, but Slash is on a sliver of health with the Mozzie underneath. They have to find some way to make it work. Might have a C4 in pocket to be able to end this from underneath. Flak is trying to rotate up and they're in a post-plant situation. Hibana drops to Flak. It is a 2 versus 1, but Slash has rotated outside, has 1 concussion and 1 claymore and 1 dream to be able to stop this going into overtime. Can a player who has had a mixed bag be able to find a way to shut this down? They found the diffuser. There is half the time left. They're going for a diffuse. Can Slash even hear it from how far away he is? The spots come out. They're just going to try and stick it, and he gets dropped as he swings over the table. We are heading to overtime.
They lost that round off a default camera. Default. It's been there since the game first was created. And they lost the round to it. And we go overtime again. So 4-2, 4-2 splits is all the craze at the moment. And look, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Well, Rogue have started on defense. And it feels weird to say this. That's not good.
Is not. And can they break the curse? Can they finally just subdue this absolute crazy team of Okami, who I just... Where did they come from?
That's the thing about it. So obviously some of these players had some pretty good attempts during the CL qualifiers, but didn't quite make it. They played under a couple of different team names. A lot of anime-themed ones, I believe. There seems to be a big swing of that. They didn't quite make CL outside of the good runs they had. Rogue obviously haven't had the best season, but when we looked at the games tonight, you know, the first game, SSG versus Atheris, we said, well, that's probably going to be, you know, it's probably going to be a 2-0 in favor of SSG, a Pro League team, versus against a Mexican League team that hasn't had the best track record. It was. The middle game, we expected to maybe go to 3 maps, and it did. It was very aggressive in how it got there, a 7-1, 7-4, and a 7-4, or a 7-3 even. And then this map where we kind of went, well, Rogue theoretically should take this, yes? There's some prestige on the side of Okami. Has Benji, has Kilo, has these players that have done stuff in CL Quals, but you would expect them to do it. And the fact that we're sitting on our second overtime, after doing a max overtime on the third map of a best of 3, with roughly 90% of them being attack round wins, I just don't really know if I can ever predict a game. The C4 that was just thrown out the window didn't catch any bites. They're trying to aggressively start pushing towards the point. Again, this is something that has played much into the favor. And I guess Rogue were trying to respond with some aggression of their own, but Okami did not suffer the end of it now. They're obviously trying to find their way to the top floor, which was, well, a point that they managed to take once and I believe lose once, so let's see if they can make something of it. Otherwise, big guns watching towards the admin side. The diffuser is being traded on the far-flung side, but they have made their way into the building from now on. They've just got to clear across.
So Vertical losing that C4 early on means that he's kind of taken out of the fight because he doesn't have an impact in the later stages of the round. That's the thing about Pulse in this map, is that he can be a deadly force if you do leave him unattended. Now they can leave him unattended. They know that C4's gone. They have nothing to worry about. So Rogue already backed up in a bit of a corner. Okami just breathing down their necks, again, up close and personal, towards vending machines is where they're stationed. Taking their time, they're droning out. Okami, they want this. They're not going to let it slip, look.
Well, there's another body down. 4-4 easily. Also wants this pretty intently and battles back towards Okami. Kilo off the board after getting his opening frag against Slash means that it's kind of balanced out just a little bit with a bit of a trade. You can see that Benji is trying to set up to make a push against the A point and otherwise just try and find a body onto the Ash, which hasn't been hugely seen, and IQ is picked apart from underneath as well. Vertical, who has been a very big part of how they've decided to hold and pressure against this. Prompted is going to have to double up round and move away from the lobby stairs that are being continually droned, and at this point Benji is just going to throw himself in with Flak on the shoulder cover. They're going to try and find the frag, but the swing round from Brian finds one. Might be able to find the second at this point. The calls are going down, but Prompted on the far side suffers a fate, and it looks like this could be a defensive round that does go the way of Rogue.
Okay. Now this is where things get wild, because Rogue have finally broken the curse. They finally got themselves the defense that they needed, and all the pressure falls on Okami. All the pressure. Everything. All the marbles. Let's see if they can pull this away. Moving to the defense for Okami. Rogue on the attack, which they have looked so strong on. They haven't been broken apart from the odd time, but overall it's looked solid and stiff for Rogue. Garage is where we head. Okami, they have to make it happen. One last time into the breach.
I'm just kind of amazed that this whole series, it's completely blown me away, and there's a part of me that doesn't really want it to end, but I know it has to, because someone's got to be the victor, and at this point, you know, it's just a tough one to call. Okami set themselves up for what could be their final defense of the entire tournament, or it could be their final defense of the day. But either way, it's going to be an important one now as they find themselves up against a Rogue that has come off the back of a round win against a back and forth completely and entirely for the previous rounds we've seen in the last 4, 5 even have been back and forths between the two teams. They've finally maybe found the match for each other. Brought the Pulse to get the filter and feed of information that has been pretty consistently good for Okami, and can they be able to find the initial pull against a Rogue that has otherwise been their big lead into these rounds?
A lot of information from the Mozzie and Pulse can combine into a deadly combo. C4s galore for Okami. Benji, again, on this dock, and really hasn't produced that many results. Let's be real here. We're expecting him to get a lot more kills, and most of them have came from the attack. They have brought in the smoke, which has been kind of slacking from them. They haven't got that much denial in some of their previous lineups, but they do bring the smoke this time around. Potentially lacking, you know, like a Maestro, which could help them with even more sight information. But if they want to roll with what they got, then hey, who are we to stop them? Because up to this point, they have, you know, they have played phenomenal. Whatever happens, they should be proud of themselves. And going up against a Pro League team like Rogue, you know, it should just be great from them. It really should be. Phenomenal. That's all I can say. That's one word.
Phenomenal. Well, they're setting themselves up, and they obviously have that wall open now, trying to keep the angles in control. The top floor control was, you know, it's always been a bit of point of contention between the two teams so far, but I guess we'll see if they can find a way to bring it together. Otherwise, this could where it start to fall apart. Still have those nitro cells and still have that feed of information coming from the Pulse, with Kilo playing the Mozzie pretty aggressively on the stairs. There's a drone caught almost immediately for them. Covering against the backside as Vertical finds the opening frag against Prompted. The Nomad charges a bait, but it doesn't work. Hits the person trying to get the cover. Great play from Easily to drop flak there, and the Pulse is still in position to drop this with the C4, potentially just do something with it, trying to feed that to the rest of the team, but no one is there to pick it up.
Oh, how has he missed those shots? That was a sure kill, but because he whiffed it, I have a feeling that door is closing for Okami, and Rogue look as if they're about to walk straight into the next round. Unless these three boys can prove me wrong. Rogue now looking to breach in towards the main wall, and Benji gets lit up by just, I think, anybody who was looking in towards the top floor, which is a lot of control that they have. And now Okami stuck in a bit of a tight position. Kilo does fire back with 2 big kills on the slash and vertical, and all of a sudden there's a little bit of hope now shining through. Lyman still in the back, but he's not really doing anything at this stage. He's trying to keep the one guy at bay. Benji does light up Brian outside of the breach, and Kilo still on yellow stairs, hasn't been dealt with. 15 seconds ago. Rogue need to get a move on. Finally, Eclipse fires through, eliminates that pesky Mozzie. Now you can see Layman, he's realized, hey, I'm not doing anything. I need to try and get back in the fight. Diffuser's going down from Brian, and nobody from Okami is in a position to stop it. Swing around from the Pulse, but that's been shut down. However, the refrag's there from Benji, and a 1v2 for him. Still has one more stim pistol, but Diffuser being planted. And this is one of the most difficult retakes in all of Rainbow Six. Sees the head behind the car, knows that Sophia's out, but still has to go through Brian in the bomb site. Benji, you've played well up till now, but I think you've met your match. And there's Brian, sends it home. Rogue, they finally close it out. They win, they take the series. 8-6 is how it went down.
I mean, what a showing from the team that unfortunately is not progressing to the next stage. Okami, you have been as entertaining and electric as any team I think I have seen, and I thank you for the chaos that has ensued at 6 AM here in Split. Unfortunately, your tournament comes to an end, but Rogue will progress to the next round alongside the 2 teams we saw progress earlier today, as we see in the lovely bracket here.
Yeah, SSG, they took on the Mexican side off of Ferris, and they won that pretty convincingly. And then, of course, the almighty clash between the 2 CL teams, Akatsuki against Adventure Force. And Well, that was one for Adventure Force in the books, and then, of course, what a series. Rogue versus Okami 1 to remember. Rogue took that, and you can still see the other matches there. Sonics, Orgulus, Luminosity Disrupt, Rise and Draken, EG Shrug, and Obey and BDE still all to come, of course, and that's just going to leave us even more fun Siege. But guys, that's us done. Fluke, what can we say? What a day.
Yeah, and we'll be back on this channel in roughly 8 hours. I'm not sure what the exact time is. I know I need to go collapse home and get sleep. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please, if you want to keep up to date with the progressing of the tournament, those are words I wanted to put in the right order. Follow the socials at OGA Rainbow Six Pit and alongside this Twitch as well, because we still have a lot of Siege to get through, and then obviously the LAN coming up in December. So that's all for us tonight. That has been Demo. I have been Fluke, and I will see you in EU.
Predict the outcome, win the game. Get live coverage and schedules for your favorite tournaments. Analyze, predict, and vote to gain points. Compete with other esports fans and climb the leaderboards. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.